So we are going to start the first movie with this thing. This is some sort of cleaver or hatchet or a combination of both. I'm not even sure, but we are going to restore this one, build a handle for it. Yeah, it's been a little bit abused. I mean, somebody did smash it with a hammer, so it's got some deformation here. I'm going to try and remove that. Of course, by removing it, we are going to lose some of the brute de force here. So I'm going to start it by cleaning it and removing the pins, then cleaning the tongue area because it's a little bit rusty. And after that, we are going to cut the handle material and set it with epoxy, and afterwards I'm going to shape the handle, finish it, and after I finish the handle I'm going to sharpen it. And this is pretty much it, because even though it has some deformation here, it's not in a bad shape, and I just want to get this done so we can get started with the real fun stuff. So enjoy. This part I'm trying to remove the lanyard, and I'm having a little bit of trouble with the knot, but yeah, it's getting out. Okay, piece of wood, let's throw that. Okay, I'm going to store this safely over there. Okay, at this particular part I'm trying to remove the old pins, and I'm going to use the saw to remove them. Okay, the saw and the pliers. This is pretty hard work because they are like 6mm diameter and they are full. They are not loveless rivets or something like that. It's just a 4-bar of brass. Here I'm trying to remove the deformation of the steel on the back where it was hit with the hammer. It's going away, but it leaves some marks. As you can see, it's going pretty good. And in a minute now I'm going to smooth out the back, because yeah, there were hammer marks. So this is a fast way to smooth any surface if you use the slack of the grinder. And now we're progressing to a finer belt. The previous belt was like 60 grit and this is like 400. I'm not going to overdo and go into higher grits because it's unnecessary, given the fact that it is going to go in the ferric chloride in like a few minutes. So anyway, this is a workhorse, so you don't need perfect finish on it. And anyway, I hate mirror finish. I just can't stand it. Okay, this is now done. I'm now going to use sandpaper to finish the surface. And that's Zizi, my dog, one of my dogs actually. Okay, finishing up. And now I'm using acetone to really clean the surface, to make sure that there aren't any grease spots, because ferric chloride is kind of picky. If you leave grease marks, it's going to etch uneven. The red barrel is water with baking soda, to neutralize the ferric chloride. At that point I was trying to say that this is a heavy piece. Look at the level, how it rose up. Okay, this is neutralizing the ferric chloride. I kind of need to change that because it's been like that for a few years. It's not that efficient, but still does the job. Now cleaning the blade again. This time only with a rag, no acetone. Okay, it turned out pretty good, I think. Hey, Zizi again. Okay, what you doing, little girl? And that's a funny tongue you got there. Get out. Okay, leave us to do our thing. So now I'm measuring the scale material, which I thought it was micarta, and you'll see in a minute I kind of messed up on this one, but yeah, you can do everything right. Now if it was micarta, this bandsaw wouldn't have any problem, but I kind of ruined the blade because it was G10, and G10 is not easy to cut with a wood bandsaw. So yeah, it cut that one, but when I'm trying to make another cut, it's going to fail on me. So now I'm measuring exactly how long the scales are supposed to be, and this is where we are going to have some trouble. The blade just won't cut, and I'm going to try to make some adjustments, but yeah, it just doesn't cut. I need to get another blade. Okay, here I think I'm going to make some more adjustments, but still no. And yeah, in a minute or so I'm going to yeah, here I'm just going to go on and cut it with an angle grinder. Sorry, the English is not my main language, but yeah, and I'm a little bit rusty in speaking it. Okay, now the second one, marking it, and again, here we go again. I'm starting the cut from the down position because it's easier for me to maintain a straight line while I'm cutting stuff with an angle grinder. I'm just going progressively. I'm not rushing into it because this is kind of dangerous. You can slip and hurt yourself. By the way, always we use the protection they give you when you buy the angle grinder. I have had in the past some discs fail on me, so yeah, that's dangerous stuff. Here I'm just removing the shiny part of the G10, so the adhesive is going to stick better to it. Okay, and what am I going to do here? Thinking apparently. Okay, now I'm measuring the old pins with which I said they were 6 millimeters in diameter, and because I want to use loveless rivets, I'm just going to fill the old holes with some new pins, and I'm going to smash them with a hammer so they stay very good in there. Okay, you'll see in a moment what I mean. And basically, it's not just that I want to use loveless rivets, but of course they're better than normal pins, but yeah, the holes were not even, so I wanted to kind of fix that problem as well. Okay, this is taking some time. And now I'm beginning to pin them in. And smash, smash, smash. Okay. This is quite a neat trick, I think, when you're changing handles and you don't like the old holes, you just can fill them with brass or copper or something like that. And the third one. Okay. Now I'm doing a little dance. And now I'm just removing the excess brass and trying to remove the scale and forge marks from the handle on the part that the handle is going to be. I try to remove as much as I can so the epoxy has where to stick, because yeah, you need to clean the surfaces very well. And now I'm just going to clean it with a rag and marking where the pins are supposed to be and trying to strengthen the new holes. I mean, put it somewhat on the center. Okay. And with a small drill bit, I'm just marking the start of the hole. The hole needs to be 4 millimeters in diameter for the loveless pins. And just marking them. Okay. And that weird noise is me banging my head on the drill press. Now proceeding with the holes. Okay, this can be a little bit faster, but yeah, it's like 10 millimeters across. It's a very thick piece of metal. This is why it takes a long time to drill. And by the way, everything is sped up here because yeah, if I wouldn't have like speed it up twice or 3 times in some places, the video would have taken like 40 minutes, maybe more. And just now I'm addressing the edges. I don't like sharp edges, so I'm fixing that problem. And proceeding to make the hole in the scales. You see, as I progress, I'm putting a pin in every hole, so the blade stays in place. Unfortunately, here my cam battery died, so I lost some of the process, but I'm going to address it in another video, so you can see how you can drill holes and get it right every time. I'm not saying this is the only way to do it, but I found that it works every time. It's not the fastest way for sure, but it's kind of foolproof. I never had any problems with it, with this method. I mean, you can get the basic idea. You do each scale at a time, never both of them at the same time. And this works also with taper tanks. It works best with taper tanks. Now I'm going to set my loveless drill bit and the rest the scales. Okay. And the second one. Now I'm just setting the loveless pin so I can go to the grinder and fix the I don't know how it's called, but you'll see in a moment. The part of the scales where the blade is going to be. You need to do that before you set it with epoxy. So I'm doing this so the scales don't slip, and they're supposed to be very, very tight. Okay, so you can see what I meant earlier. And now it's kind of good. Here is where I'm going to prepare my epoxy, and I'm just laying down some paper duct tape. And of course you need to use sandpaper to clean everything that you are going to set with epoxy. Sandpaper and acetone. This is the sandpaper part, of course. And this is the acetone part. You really need to clean thoroughly. Okay. Take your time and do this part very, very thoroughly. It's important not to have dust or grease. And doing the same thing with the tang. Of course, I'm not going to remove the forge parts because those are pretty deep, so I can't actually remove them, but I clean them. And now cleaning everything with acetone, making sure they are clean and they don't have any grease spots. Of course, using gloves because epoxy is nasty stuff and it sticks everywhere. And here we go. I'm always prepare a little bit extra, even if I end up throwing most of it, but I'd rather throw a little epoxy away than not having enough in the first place. Mix it. I'm mixing it very thoroughly. They are supposed to be very, very, very well mixed. And setting the rivets in the epoxy. The epoxy actually helps the loveless rivets to set up properly. I'll just putting epoxy on each side and a tang, of course. And now I'm putting epoxy on the other side, and I'm pushing the rivets far back so I can make this with ease. And of course now I'm going to push them back. And Okay, just putting these little bits here. And now I'm going to proceed to tighten them with a screwdriver. And take your time here. Just tighten them not very hard, and progressively move to one and to other, so you can do this very uniform. I think it's a word, I don't know. Maybe correct me in the comments. Yeah, it's like changing your tires, you know, just do it progressively. You can see the epoxy that it's coming out. So I told you I make a lot of epoxy. Now I'm cleaning it as best as I can. You don't need to do this part very good because you're anyway going to do it later. Okay. Now I'm carefully removing my gloves and I'm throwing this away. Putting on new gloves so I can clean the mess that I made on the blade. Usually with smaller blades I use paper duct tape to cover the blade and protect it from epoxy, but this is just too big, so I'm just using acetone to clean the epoxy. Acetone actually cleans very good the epoxy. If you are thorough with this, you are not going to have any problems with this method. It dissolves and cleans the epoxy very good. Okay, the fresh epoxy. When it hardens, it's too late. You can't do anything about it. But at this moment, yeah, you can clean it very, very, very good using acetone. And now I'm setting this for at least 24 hours, so the epoxy has time to cure. And this is the end of part 1. Hope you liked it. Bye.